Hello everyone, I once again welcome you all to my YouTube channel English Banisa. Students, in today's video we are going to see John Milton's poem on his having arrived at the age of 23. It is an autobiography by John Milton in which he was very worried about his life which is passing quickly. So before going to this poem, let us know about the author John Milton. John Milton was an English poet and historian who lived in the 17th century. Many scholars have considered him the most important English author after Shakespeare. He is best known for his lengthy blank verse epic poem Paradise Lost, which considered a masterpiece of world literature, which focuses on the Christian biblical story of the fall of man from Eden. And Milton also wrote a number of political and theological essays, including a famous defense of free expression and freedom of the press, which is cited by thinkers and jurists even today. Now, student, let us know about this poem. Brief description of this poem on his having arrived at the age of 23 was written at a crucial time in Milton's life. Just after the graduation from Cambridge, Milton acknowledged here that he is not as mature as some of his contemporaries, but expresses a strong desire to use his talents well and his unshakable faith in God's will. Milton uses this sonnet to symbolize the poet's journey from doubt to self discovery. As he nears the age of 24, the poet feels that he is at the border between youth and manhood, a time to which he has arrived so near. He feels sad and melancholic that when he reaches maturity, his talent may be less rather than becoming more comprehensive. So, students, this sonnet shows the worries that Milton had about his career when he was young and he still hadn't chosen his way on in life. That is, no focus on his career, no goal of future. In this thoughtful sonnet, we are going to see that there is no celebration of a birthday but a worry that the young man faces as time passes by. And in this sonnet, Milton uses a various metaphors and images so as to give a progressively clear picture of his problem. And at the end, answers the problem, reconciling himself to the will of the taskmaster, that is God. So, students, this is an autobiography written by John Milton when he was studying in the Cambridge University, and this poem was published in 1632. This poem is a sonnet because 14 lines poem is called sonnet. Here you can see this poem which comprises 14 lines, the poem which has 14 lines that called sonnet. And in this poem, the starting 8 lines are called octave, found dissonance between his inner and outward states of maturity. And the last 6 lines, which is called sestate, response is that time and will of heaven will even things out according to the plan. So here in the starting 8 lines, we can see his doubt and his inner and outer feelings. But in the 6 lines, he shows us the answer and he also shows his faith in God's plan. So now students, let us see the explanation to this poem. Let's read the lines. Let us read the first 2 lines. How soon had time the subtle thief of youth stolen on his wing my 3 and 23 year. So here hath is nothing but it is a poetic form which is called has in our language English, and subtle is nothing but which is very cunning. So here students, in the first 2 lines of the sonnet, characterize time as a winged thief of youth that has stolen the speaker's adolescence before he could achieve anything in life. So here students, Milton does not blame himself for his lack of advancement in 23 years of his life, but blames time on uncontrollable force. Now students, let us read the third line. My hashing days fly on with full career, but my late spring no bud or blossom showed. So here the meaning of these hashing days are nothing but his life's days are going very fastly, which this hashing shows the speed. And this full career means his life is busy. And this shirt is nothing but it is shown. Now let's see the explanation to these lines. So in the following line, Milton emphasizes the speed with which he feels time has passed by describing his days as hashing and full of career. So here it seems that the time he felt pass has not been passed idly, but rather with hard work and toil. These lines may be referring to the years he had already spent studying at Christ College, Cambridge, where he was still enrolled when he wrote this poem. He would graduated the following year in 1632. Perhaps he felt that many years had been wasted studying and learning about other people's work rather than making his own. Now, in this line, Now, in the fourth line, the poet introduces a metaphor in which he uses the seasonal cycle to symbolize the various stages in life. Within this metaphor, he describes spring, which symbolizes youth, summer is the prime of life, autumn is the middle age, and winter is old age or death. So, here he characterizes his own stage in life as a late spring. In continuation of his seasonal metaphor, Milton states that no bud or blossom has grown in his late spring. Here he does not see good prospects for the summer of his life. After all, if there are no buds or blossom in the spring, then how can there be a beautiful flowers in the summer? Now let us read the fifth line. Perhaps my semblance might deceive the truth, that I to manhood am arrived so near. So here in these lines, the poet recognizes that his semblance may make him seem very young to others, although he inwards feels that he is leaving the time of his youth. I too, manhood, am arrived so near. Whether he wishes for others to recognize his maturity seems unclear. A ripeness and his outward appearance. At the time his poem was written, Milton was still a student at Christ College, Cambridge, and perhaps he felt that his role as a student or inferior to his teacher did not reflect the artistic maturity he felt he possessed. Now let us read the eighth line, that some more timely happy spirits in the earth. So here the happy spirits are nothing but they are the lucky people. So here students, the poet is jealous of those people who manage to do the right things or have the right luck at the right time, means his contemporaries. They are endowed with God's favor, blessings, or goodwill. He feels that he would have been very happy if he had got some more time to ripen his poetic talent. These phrase timely happy spirits refer to those who are more comfortable with their age or whose age reflect their inner being. Now, students, as we have discussed this eight line which shows his inner and outer feelings, he doubt in his life. But here these last six line shows answers. And this line shows his faith in God. Now let us read this three line. Yet be it less or more, or soon or slow, it shall be still in its measure even, to that same lot, however mean or high. Now let's see the explanation to these lines. So in this eighth line through till 10, Milton begins to change his attitude toward the passage of time by surrendering his lot or fate to the will of God, a power he considered to be the higher than that of time. He also seems to relent some of his worry about the degree of his success by implying that whether it is less or more, soon or slow, does not matter. So these lines mark a clear shift in the speaker's thinking. Now let us read the last three lines. Towards which time leads me and the will of heaven. All is if I have grace to use it so, as ever in my great taskmaster I. Now let's see the explanation to these three lines. So here in the last three lines of the poem, Milton completely surrendered his worry about success to the will of heaven. Interestingly, although his this outlook is more positive in some aspect than his opening attitude, he is still using a scapegoat to avoid taking responsibility for his station in life. In the beginning, he blames time for stealing away his youth, displacing responsibility, and in the end, he displaces responsibility again by surrendering his faith and the great taskmaster's eyes, which is to say, he believes he has no say in what task God will assign him. So, although the poet feels that he has gone through a self discovery of sorts, he is back where he started. So, here in this last line, John Milton saw himself as a talented poet and intellectual and believed that God would never waste his talent by dealing him an unfavorable fate. Friends, let's see the conclusion to this poem. So, students, here Milton introduces a problem and gives a solution. The problem is relevant even today. When young people have to decide on a career as time goes by, people pester that about what they are doing. So, student, when the poet attains his maturity, he regrets again the God's decision of not giving him enough time to grow. Then he realizes that God's way is perfect and he does only good. We should have firm faith in his decision and should never go against it. So here he comforts and consoles himself that it is the will of heaven, and the poet says that he should obey it without any regret or doubt. So students, at the end Milton realizes that whatever God does is only for our good. He conforms to his dictum to justify the ways of gods to men and surrenders his faith to the great taskmaster Sai. He affirms here that just are the ways of God and justifiable to men. So, students, this is all about the poem written by John Milton on his having arrived at the age of 23. I hope it would be helpful for you. Stay tuned for the more videos and thanks for watching.